Okay, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. So last time we talked about how to reduce risk, and there are several mechanisms. The first one is to use forward market, and then we can use future market, and finally option. And unfortunately, the last part of the lecture, which was about future market, was not recorded. Okay, so I want to repeat that, because we have uncertainties. Maybe you can remember there are three types of uncertainty. The first one is three types of risks: technical risk, external risk, and price risk. And because of the technical risk, the last lecture, the 1/3 of the last lecture was not recorded, which was about future market. So, okay, what was forward market? You may remember that because in spot market we have a lot of price fluctuations. The price is volatile. So the seller and buyer want to reduce their risk. And one of the way is to make a contract in advance before the delivery day. Okay, so for example, if the delivery day is June 1st, they can make a contract in 3 months ahead or 6 months ahead. And their contract is called forward contract. And the market where the forward contract is traded is the forward market. And when we finish chapter 2 today, we will go to chapter 3, and we will see specific examples about forward market, which is used for bilateral trading. Bilateral trading means, bilateral means 쌍무 or 쌍방 in Korean. Okay, so forward market is important. And actually in the quiz I asked you what the difference is between forward market and future market, and your answers were not quite satisfactory. The main difference between forward market and future market is that in forward market we have only physical participants. The buyers and sellers are the one who really need to consume the good and who really need to produce the good, like wheat or cocoa, etc. Okay, so in the case of a forward market, we only have physical participants who produce or who consume the wheat. Okay, that means we do not have enough number of participants in the market. What's the problem in that case? The problem is the market is not quite liquid, or we can say we do not have enough liquidity in the market. Liquidity in the market means 유동성 in the market. Okay, so when there are a lot of participants in the market, we have enough liquidity, and then we have a lot of transactions, and we can easily find the market equilibrium. So to provide enough liquidity in the market, in future market we introduce trader or speculator. They are not physical participants, but just logical participants. So that was here. Okay, we have spot market, we have risk, price is volatile, and we can use forward contract and forward market. And in forward market, we only have the physical participants. So that's why we need to have another types of participants. And there's a way of diversification. Okay, so the physical participants versus trader, they do not consume or produce the goods. They only sell and buy by making a phone call or by looking at the order book. Order book means 호가창. Okay, so they just participate in the trade electronically. So mostly people think the speculators are not good because they want to take advantage of price fluctuation. So that's why speculators are called 투기꾼 in Korea. But even that's kind of true, but still they have their own rules. That means they can provide liquidity in the market. Okay, so let's start from here again. Trader and speculators on other types of participants in the market. So in forward market, we only have two parties, the seller and buyer. And this transaction, this contract is not quite standardized. And this is bilateral trading. That means it incurs a lot of transaction cost because they need to negotiate about the price. Okay. By contrast, in this future market, the transaction, the contract is standardized, so it can be easily sold. Okay. So the trading by speculators means they cannot take a physical delivery of the commodity, but they can buy and sell the commodity before the date of delivery. But they must balance their position on the date of delivery. That means if I logically buy the good in 3 months advance, then I need to sell it before the date of delivery. That is called, we need to clear the position, where the position is cleared. Okay? So the quantity bought must be equal to quantity sold. And if they cannot fulfill their responsibility, they need to compensate it by selling or buying in the spot market. Okay? But if they need to do that, you remember that the price in the spot market is highly volatile, so they are again exposed to the risk, price risk. So they don't want to do that. Okay. So forward contracts are limited to parties who can take physical delivery, and by contrast, these speculators can participate in the future contract because this is in a standardized form. Okay. So this animation is an example of futures contract, and physical producer and physical consumer, like what was that? Miller and who was it? Farmer. Yeah, Farmer and Miller, producer and consumer. So and we have two speculators. So sold 2 tons at that price, and sold 2 tons at this price. Well, this guy looks like smarter than him, right? Bought at a cheaper price. And all contracts for wheat on September 1st. And then he resold 1 ton at $95. Already made $5 profit per ton. And then he resell it at 1 ton at $115. Anyway, it looks like he made a profit as well. So the physical delivery date is September 1st. And let's see what happens shortly before September 1st. So yeah, sold 2 ton, 2 ton. That is written here. And bought 2 ton and sold 1 ton. Bought 2 ton, bought 1 ton, sold 1 ton at that price. And because this is just before September 1st, this guy need to clear his position. Bought 2 ton, sold 1 ton, and sells 1 ton at this price. Okay, so he cleared his position. And this guy additionally sells 2 tons at this price, so he cleared his position as well. And from these transactions, physically, 4 tons of wheat will be delivered to this miller on September 1st. Okay? And suppose that on September 1st, the spot price is $100. And this farmer sold at this price. So actually, the profit of farmer is same to the profit if he had participated in the spot market. Actually, the prices are same, right? The average price is same today. So no profit for this farmer in participating in this futures market. This guy bought, sell, net profit is this much. And this guy bought 4 tons of wheat at this price. This is higher than the spot price. So the miller may think, yeah, I bought the wheat at a higher price. But anyway, because he made a contract before September 1st, he could do something else. Or at least he could take a good night's sleep. Okay? Again, taking a good night's sleep is important. So, suppose that you are speculators. Then you need to predict the spot price, the spot price, and also you need to make a decision when to buy and at which price, or when to sell at which price. Okay, and to do that, they need to have some forecasting prediction. So that's why the information is important. So speculators own some of the commodity before it is delivered, and that means they carry the risk of price change during the period, because anyway they need to clear the position. And then because they have this risk, that means they need to have deep pockets. Deep pocket means they have a lot of money to withstand the uncertainty. Okay, so without additional information, it looks like gambling. But the speculators always monitor, the price change and the news in the world, how the weather would be, etc. So those examples are global perspective on the harvest for wheat, or long-term weather forecast and its effect on the demand for gas and electricity, etc. So information is important. Well, this kind of future market, or later we will talk about how electricity is traded in decentralized market or bilateral trading, and we will have an example of order book, the seller's offer and buyer's bid. So that kind of decision, selling and buying decision, is very similar to what you do in the stock market, if you do that. So yeah, it's up to you. By participating in the real market, you can learn the theory in a practical way. Okay, so we talked about forward market and future market, and next topic is option. And in the forward contract and the future contract, they are said unconditional. Unconditional means when they made a contract, they need to deliver, they need to fulfill their requirement on the date of delivery. Okay, there is no step back. Okay, by contrast, in the case of option, they have an option whether to exercise their option right or not. Okay, so exercise means they use it. So they, in the case of option, they have a right to exercise their contract or not. So they only need to exercise their right if the price is higher than they expected, if you have selling option or put option, or if you have a call option or buying option, you only need to exercise that option if the price is higher than your guaranteed price, which means you can buy the goods at a cheaper price if you have call option. Am I clear? Let me repeat. So spot, forward, and future contracts these three things, unconditional delivery. By contrast, options means conditional delivery. You have an option to participate or not. You can have an option to exercise it or not. So in the case of call option means you have a right to buy at a certain price at a certain time. So at a certain time, if the spot price is higher than your call option price, you can buy this good at a cheaper price. Do you see what I'm saying? You have a call option. That means you can buy the good at $100. But on the delivery day, you find that the price is $200, for example. Then of course you should buy it, because as soon when you buy it, you already have a 100% of profit. Okay, but on that day, you may find that the price is just $90. I have a call option at $100. Then you don't need to buy at all. Okay, so you just give it up. Okay, that means you don't exercise your right. Okay, so you only need to exercise your option if that is beneficial to you. That is option. So that's why it is called options. So call option is a right to buy at a certain price at a certain time, and put option is a right to sell at a certain price at a certain time. So if you have a put option, you can sell it, for example, at $100. And on the date of delivery, you find that the price is $90, for example. Then you should exercise it, because you can sell it at a higher price. Okay? That means somebody must buy it at that price, right? You see what I'm saying? So we have a call option and put option. And there are two elements of the price: the exercise price or the strike price. This is the price paid when the option is exercised. So yeah, so you need to compare this exercise price and the spot price, right? So, and you need to decide whether I need to exercise my option or not. And in option, we have fee. That fee is called premium fee or option fee. And this is the money, the price paid for the option itself. So this is unconditional thing. When you buy or sell an option, there is a fee incurred. That fee is called premium fee or option fee. Actually, every stock transaction also has a fee, like 0.25% of the total transaction cost. So this is an example of call option. Call option with an exercise price of $100 is about to expire. And if the spot market price is $90 call option, then this option is worth nothing. You should not exercise it. But if the spot price is higher than the exercise price, then you need to exercise it. Okay? And the holder makes money if the value is greater than. This value means that the exercise price minus the spot market price minus exercise price. If that is greater than your option fee, you should exercise it. Anyway, you need to consider this option fee. Yeah, example of put option. Put option with an exercise price of $100. It is about to expire. So if the spot market price is $90, the option is worth $10. If the spot price is $110, then the option is worth nothing. Same thing, okay? Okay, so we talked about the basics of options, and there is a slight variation of that. So, and that is called contract for difference, CFD. Yeah, the CFD means contracts for difference, and this is kind of option. So suppose that the participants in the market must transact in this physical market. So yeah, let's just assume that the participants are obliged to participate in the physical market. But even in that case, they can have a financial contract. And this concept is very similar to options. Okay, so let's see. The contracts without any physical delivery. Okay, so, and there are two types of contracts for difference. Actually, this is very obvious thing. So, just let's look at it. Okay, one-way contract for difference is that mathematics is just arithmetic calculation. So, buyers has call option for 50 units at $100 per unit. And the spot price goes up $110 per unit. Then, this intermediate steps means that in previous case, how can I say? Okay, so what I want to say is, for this financial contract and contract for difference is slightly different from the previous option in the sense that they first need to make a transaction in this physical market, and after that they need to compensate it to make it work like an option. Okay, so anyway, this is an option. This is an option. So buyer has a call option, 50 units, $100, and the spot price is 110. And this guy has a call option, so obviously this guy wants to exercise it. And the way of exercising it is like this. First, buyer pays this much using the spot price. Okay, intermediate step. And seller receives that much, using this spot price. And buyer calls the option. And that means, actually the price to be like that. And the difference is $500. Okay, so the seller transfer $500 to the buyer to settle the contract. So we have intermediate step because of the physical delivery, and anyway, logically or financially, we can have this kind of option. So this is called one-way contract for difference. And two-way contract for difference is that in this case, this buyer may not want to exercise its call option if that is not beneficiary to the buyer. Okay, but in this two-way contract for difference, this is a combination of call option and put option at the same time. So this one-way contract for difference may or may not happen because this is an option. Okay? But this two-way contract for difference always happens because this is a combination of call option and put option. Okay? So this always be used. That means, example 1. Contract for difference, 50 units at $100. The spot price is same, 110. Then, buyer pays this much on physical spot market. Seller receives this much in the physical market, and seller pays $500 to the buyer, and buyer effectively pays buyer So this is an option. This is not a call option, this is not a put option, just an option. Okay, so this contract for difference must happen anyway. So suppose that the spot price is like that, and yeah, buyer pays this much, seller receives this much, and but the price should be $100. So sellers pays buyer 500. So yeah, this is wrong. Buyer effectively gets sorry. So yeah, this is correct. So seller pays buyers 500. So effectively, buyer pays 5,000, not 5,500. And seller effectively gets this much. This is same to the previous one-way contract for difference. Okay? And but suppose that the spot price is $90. Second example, if this is the case in one-way contract, then nothing happens because the buyer would not exercise its option. But in this two-way contract, anyway, it happens. Okay? That means the seller exercises its option in this case. So either buyer or seller exercise their option in two-way contract for difference all the time. You see what I'm saying? Or not, just read the textbook.
원웨이는 그러면 바이어 관점에서만 보는 거예요?
Just from one side. In this example, the buyer has a call option.
바이어든 셀러든.
Yeah, right. So in this example, we have buyer has a call option. It can be exercised or not. Or the seller can have put option. It can be exercised or not. That is one-way contract for difference. But in the case of two-way contract for difference, this is the combination of call option and put option. And it is always exercised because one guy can have benefit. And then he wants to call. So he or she wants to exercise it anyway. Okay? And anyway, this buyer and seller are insulated from a physical market. They only transact logically. Okay, any questions? And let's talk about the last part of chapter 2. And this is about the minimum efficient size, and we will talk about the monopoly case. And yeah, how can we determine the market clearing price in the case of monopoly? So, this is a demand curve. Okay. And previously, we used the supply curve using the marginal cost function. Okay. And in the case of marginal cost function, it cannot reflect the fixed cost. Right? But usually we have a fixed cost. So rather than using marginal cost curve, we can use average cost to reflect the fixed cost. So suppose that this is the average cost function per unit, like that. And the producers want to determine the quantity where this average cost function is minimized. Right? Because I have a fixed cost, I want to recover the fixed cost. So if I produce more and more and more, up to some point, the average cost decreases. And after that, the average cost increases again because originally the marginal cost is increasing function. Right? So anyway, so this quantity is called minimum efficient size from a producer's perspective. Let's see two types of the minimum efficient size, this one and that one. Which one do you think is better for competitive market? and which one is related with kind of monopoly market? Do you have any idea? Do you see what I'm saying? 민재. Okay. Okay, sorry. I want to talk about a competitive market versus monopoly market. And the assumption of competitive market is that the participants, either seller or buyer, there are a lot of sellers and a lot of buyers, so they cannot affect the market clearing price. That's the meaning of competitive market. We have a lot of participants. Okay, so the market equilibrium is anyway determined, and no one in the market can affect the price because they are just tiny little guy. Okay, so suppose that you are a producer in the market, and you need to determine the producing quantity. Then how can you determine that? Using this. This is the quantity that minimizes my average cost. And if there are a lot of producers in the market, they have their own MES, and the collection of all of this can be the supply in the market. So it means we have this divided by that number of producers, right? So you can see that we have a lot more producers in this case rather than that one. Here, when there are two producers in the market, the quantity is already over the demand. So there cannot be many producers in using under this kind of average cost function and demand function. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So in this case, we say monopoly is better, would be better, and that is called natural monopoly, as we discussed before. Yeah. So then the next question is, in a competitive market, when we have a number of suppliers, we have demand curve and supply curve, and the intersection is the market clearing price. But in the case of monopoly or natural monopoly case, we only have one or two producers. Then how can we set the price in that case? And that's the question. Or from the regulator's perspective, what is a good price in natural monopoly case? Because this is a monopoly, the regulator need to intervene in the market. Okay, and the reason why we need to talk about this is because electricity falls into this category. This category, traditional electricity market falls into this category because fixed cost is a lot. Building a power plant, building a transmission line, building a distribution network, those incur fixed cost, right? Need to invest first.